Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The summer heat isn't the only thing sizzling in Genoa City this week. On The Young and the Restless, July 16th promises an explosive episode that might just change the course of the Newman family forever. As relationships teeter on the edge, secrets begin to surface, and one shocking discovery by Nick Newman threatens to blow everything sky high. Let's dive deep into the dramatic undercurrents, emotional confrontations, and the storm brewing behind closed doors in this 3,000-word creative spoiler-packed breakdown of Y&R for July 16th. It all begins quietly. Nick Newman walks into Crimson Lights for his usual morning brew. But today, the calm hum of the coffee shop doesn't soothe him like it usually does. There's tension in the air, subtle, sharp. Sharon glances up from her table, sensing it too. Something's up, she murmurs, and Faith, seated across from her, nods in silent agreement. Nick's expression is grim as he taps away on his phone. His brow furrows. He's received a cryptic message from an unknown number. No greeting. No name. Just one line: "You don't know the truth about your family. Look closer." At first, he shrugs it off. Pranks are nothing new when your last name is Newman. But something gnaws at him. A gut feeling that won't let go. And Nick's gut? It's rarely wrong. Meanwhile, over at Newman Enterprises, Victor is unusually agitated. Nikki watches him from across the office, arms folded, her eyes shadowed with concern. "You're hiding something, Victor," she says. He barely looks up. There are things better left buried. But Victor's past has a way of clawing its way back to the surface, especially when secrets involve his children. Something happened years ago, something even Nick doesn't remember. And it's coming back. As Victor clutches a file labeled Project Zephyr, Confidential, he hears a knock at the door. It's Adam, the black sheep turned contender. And he's ready for a fight. "You said we're building a legacy," Adam says coldly. "But tell me, how many lies is that legacy built on?" Victor slams the folder shut. "Be careful, son. Dig too deep, and you might not like what you find." Nick can't ignore the message. He starts digging, quietly. He visits the Newman ranch, pretending to check in with his father, but his real intention is to get into the secure filing room. There, buried beneath layers of misleading documentation and unrelated files, he uncovers something peculiar: a birth certificate with his name on it. But what jumps out at him is the name of the attending physician, Dr. Andre Silas, a man who supposedly died 20 years ago in a mysterious plane crash. Nick's hands tremble as he holds the document. That name is tied to several covert Newman operations Victor buried decades ago. Why was he present at Nick's birth? And what happened the night Nick was born that's been covered up all these years? Nick turns to someone he trusts, Sharon. When he brings her the certificate, her face pales. "I've seen that name before," she whispers. "When Cassie died, I went looking through old medical files. Dr. Silas's name came up then too. But not in connection to Cassie. He was listed as the attending for someone named Nathaniel Ross." Nick stares at her. "Nathaniel Ross," he repeats. "Yeah." Sharon nods slowly. "But I couldn't find any record of who that was supposed to be." Y&R Nick Newman. Nathaniel Ross. Could it be? Was Nick Newman not even his real name? Suddenly, Nick's entire identity is thrown into question. As Nick continues his investigation, he receives another anonymous envelope. Inside is an old letter, faded and fragile, written by Hope Wilson, Adam's mother, to it read Victor. Never intended for them to know. He thought it would protect them. But one day, the truth will surface. And when it does, I pray it doesn't destroy them. There were 2 sons born, but only one was claimed. 2 sons, Nick's hands go cold. Did Victor switch babies? Unable to keep silent, Nick storms into the Newman ranch, letter in hand. "What is this?" he demands, slamming the envelope. Down in front of his father, Victor stares at it, eyes darkening. "Where did you get this? You told me I was your firstborn. Your son. But what if I wasn't? What if I wasn't even supposed to be a Newman?" Nikki, who enters just as the argument begins, lets out a gasp. "Victor, tell him the truth," she pleads. Victor sighs, sitting down heavily. "There was a fire at the clinic. Chaos. Babies switched. One of them died. The nurse panicked. I made a choice. I claimed the child that survived. I thought it was you, Nicholas." Nick reels. "You thought?" Victor nods. "It was impossible to tell. There was no DNA testing then. The records were destroyed. But I raised you. I gave you everything." Nick's voice breaks. "But was I even yours?" Devastated and disoriented, Nick rushes to Nate at Memorial Hospital. He needs answers, and this time, science will have to give them. A DNA test is performed immediately, results pending. The wait is unbearable. In the meantime, Nick begins questioning everything: his relationships with his siblings, his children, even his place in Genoa City. What does it mean if he's not a Newman? What does it mean for Christian? For faith? And most of all, what does it mean for the empire Victor built? Of Phyllis Summers, never one to miss a juicy secret, gets wind of the DNA mystery. She corners Nick at society. "You look like a man on the edge," she smirks. "Let me guess, Daddy's been keeping skeletons in his platinum closet?" Nick's silence is all the answer she needs. "Tell me, Nick, if you're not a Newman, what does that make you?" Her tone is playful, but Nick sees the glint of real concern in her eyes. Despite their rocky past, Phyllis still cares. And maybe, just maybe, he needs someone in his corner. The results arrive. Victor, Nikki, Adam, Victoria, and Sharon gather at Nick's request. With trembling hands, he opens the envelope. A hush falls over the room. Paternity excluded. Nick stares at the paper. "Victor, you're not my biological father." The room explodes. Adam lets out a strangled laugh. So the golden boy was never even in the bloodline. Victoria looks betrayed, tears in her eyes. Nikki gasps. "Then, who is your real father?" No one has that answer. As the fallout begins, one name resurfaces: Cameron Kirsten. Long presumed dead, whispers of his survival have lingered for years. Could Sharon's former stalker be more tied into the Newman legacy than anyone thought? A shadowy figure is shown at the end of the episode, watching Nick from afar. The camera pans in on a locket in his hand. Inside, a baby photo. The name engraved? Nathaniel. Nick walks alone in Chancellor Park, a man without a name, looking to the stars for answers. Victor stares out from the ranch, wondering if the foundation he built was built on quicksand. Sharon looks at her children and wonders what history will say about the choices she made. Phyllis, now determined, calls an investigator, find out who Nathaniel Ross really is. And the mystery man? He makes one call: it's time they all knew the truth. I'm coming back to Genoa City. July 16th isn't just another day in Genoa City, it's the beginning of a seismic shift. Nick's discovery has opened a Pandora's box, and the aftershocks will ripple across every family, every business, and every bond. Who is Nick Newman really? What was Victor hiding all these years? And how will this truth reshape everything we thought we knew? Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning.